Well, the Packers got the first shutout in the NFL this year, folks. The first shutout this season, folks, was by our team, the Packers. Not the Eagles, not the Vikings, not the Lions. Nah, the Packers shut out the New Orleans Saints, baby. Let's go. Woo!
This is Tom Grossi, and you're watching the PackReacts podcast.
Let's go.
Hello, everybody. Welcome to PackReacts. Welcome to PackReacts once again, folks. I'm your co-host, Jeremy Hadler, along with our other co-host, Mike Arvonio. And today, folks, we discussed the Packers' first shutout this year in the NFL. Woo! First shutout. Mike is usually at those games, though.
Yeah, I know. This is the first shutout at Lambeau Field I haven't been to in a long time. I'll look up the history here, but by the way, I got to give myself a pat on the back real quick. Usually I'm like probably a few seconds off on the intro compared to when you click on it. Spot on this time.
That was spot on.
Packers shutouts history. That was spot on though. It was like right on the right time. The viewers probably don't know what I'm talking about, but we have different streams for the YouTube and Twitter, so.
Hey, it's a room improvement that we always focus on here on PackReacts.
Wow. But so the Packers have 108 shutouts all time.
Mm-hmm.
Give me a list of them. Give me a list of them. I'll see it.
Let's see.
There's an article about it now. The November 14th, the Seattle Seahawks one, I was there. Buffalo Bills, 2018, I was there. Then the last one I knew was the Jets, which I could have been at that game. I probably should have been. It was in New York. I didn't go to that game in 2010. Before that, then the last one I hadn't been to in Green Bay since then. It was 2009, 26-0 against Detroit.
Wow. Unfortunate there for you, Mike. Unfortunate you couldn't make it to the game.
It's okay. I was at last year's Saints game, so that's kind of somewhat similar.
There you go.
But yeah, actually, I was kind of rooting not against the Packers, but I was definitely rooting for Josh Jacobs very heavily and against the Packers defense very heavily. I was in a semifinal game, and I never really thought that game was in in question. I mean,
yeah.
The Saints offense just did not look good. So, I really wasn't worried about losing the game at any point. So, I was rooting for them to give up some points. They didn't even give up single safety, which yesterday, if you saw that game, the Houston Texans game, which I didn't really watch, but they ended up getting a safety, and that's it. So, we almost had two shutouts in 3 days, right? Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, right?
Yeah.
But no cigar.
No
shutout.
No shutout.
Yesterday. But then for the Packers, when I didn't want them to get a shutout, they got a shutout. So, long story short, I lost my fantasy game. So, a few $1,000s out.
Dang.
Chance to win.
So close. Unlike in our league, Mike, where you're laying dead last.
Yeah, that's all right. We have no money going on that. So, thank you to the followers who have joined. But, I didn't really care about that. Sorry.
There we go. John was one who organized all that one.
I mean, look, my team never really had stood a chance.
That's fair. But, yeah, it is fantasy championship this week, folks, for most people, as Mike lost in his. I am in both 2 out of 3 of my leagues, hoping to get my first championship ever, which we'll see. But I don't know because my kickers did not do well this week. I got very ticked off of that. I started Kaimi, my second league. 0 points. However, Mike, in that league, it goes 2 weeks. So it goes to next week to find out whoever wins the whole league. And then my first league, I had Chris Boswell, who got 4 points for me. So it wasn't great on kicker end wise.
Got it. Well, yeah. So good luck on that. But fantasy for me is done. I was in the playoffs in one league, and that was my big money league, and it didn't matter. So I lost. So, yep. Oh well. Get them next time.
Yes, that's what they say in fantasy football. Is always get them next time. But
sorry, you got a question for me?
Yeah. What did you get? Any good Christmas Packer gifts?
Nah.
No.
I got money, so maybe I'll buy some gifts.
Okay, there you go.
Yeah, lame this year. What about you?
I got my Packers wall here. I could stick on my wall here. Back? I could put this in the back. I will probably move it in my room when I fix the studio up in there. So I'll hang this on the wall for like.
I like that. It's nice.
Yeah, so we'll have that on like your photo, which is not even in the background, Mike.
Yeah, I know. I had a video call for something that I didn't want to have that in the background for.
Would have been a good reference to PackReacts to discuss. You gotta put it for the show, Mike. For the show, at least. There we go. Yes, there we
go. That's straight?
Yeah, that's straight.
That's straight. That's straight.
There we go.
It's back.
Woo! Sweet. But shall we talk about this glory-free football win here? Because Spencer Rattler, he didn't do anything. And I said he wouldn't do anything. Jeff was, from our guest last week, was almost right of the correct score, folks. He was very close. He said the Saints would get 10 points. That was really the only difference.
They had the Packers one right, but he didn't have the Saints.
Yeah.
I don't think any of us picked the shutout.
Yeah, none of us picked the shutout.
But, Saints offense looked terrible. I'm not surprised, honestly.
It wasn't surprised either, but it wasn't great. But we had great Packer football. You had Jordan Love, who played solid. He had 1 passing TD. He had over 182 passing yards, 88.7 passer rating. And then you had Malik Willis come in, who had 1 nice throw at the end of the game. Josh Jacobs, solid there for Mike, but non-fantasy football, unfortunately. But he had 69 rushing yards, 1 rushing TD. Then you had Emmanuel Wilson. He gets a touchdown, 52 rushing yards, 23 rushing yards for Chris Brooks, who also got a rushing touchdown. Like, that's the first time in a while where we've had 3 running backs get a touchdown each in the game. So that's pretty good to see there.
Well, maybe good for you.
Fantasy-wise, not good for you. But in general, for team aspect here. Team aspect. You got to look at the picture.
Again, we were worried about the team here. This was a runaway win. This was not a team aspect. But real quick. So I was wondering why Josh Jacobs didn't get more carries at the end. And now it all makes sense to me. I didn't look at the stats. The fact he had 69 rushing yards. Okay, I get it, Matt LaFleur. He's like, no. We can't give him any more yards. That's the number we need him to have this game, 69. So I get it now. I get it, Matt LaFleur. No, in all seriousness, this was like one of those games where we were up big, and instead of letting Josh Jacobs have a career game, which, I am biased. Okay, I know I'm biased. But LaFleur's answer was, let's spread the ball around. And that's why Emmanuel Wilson and Chris Brooks had a touchdown each. I don't know. I think Matt LaFleur knew what he was doing. I think he knew what he was doing, and not good. Not good.
Well, if it makes it even worse for you, Mike, he said to Josh Jacobs at halftime, is like, if we go up 1 more score, I'm not playing you the rest of the game. So
I knew what he was doing. I knew he was going to sit. I told my friend who was like, "Oh, you're going to win." I'm like, "No, I'm not going to win." I'm telling you, he's not going to play him. He's either not going to play him or he's going to let the other guys run more. Yeah. See, I know you're saying don't let him get hurt, all that stuff. But here's the thing: we need Josh Jacobs. This team goes through Josh Jacobs, right? And I wanted him, again, selfishly to get points, but 2, I wanted him to have a career game to like set himself up to have a ton of confidence going into the playoffs because, these next games aren't going to mean a ton. I don't think we're going to get the 5th seed at this point. It's very unlikely. So the question is do we get the 6 or 7? I know we don't want the 7th seed. We want to play the Eagles. But we're going to need to win. So I guess the games do mean something, but they're not going to mean life or death. I mean, at the end of the day, it's a 6 or 7 seed, which I agree. Like, I don't want the 7th seed, but we're already made the playoffs. I mean, I don't know. I just think that this would have been a big statement game and a game that you needed to clinch the playoffs, right? Like this was, in theory, the most important game left of the season because it clinched the playoffs.
Yeah.
When again, the other ones are just going to be from 6 or 7 seed, and to win this in a decisive fashion, which look, yeah, we did win it in a decisive fashion, but if we would have had one guy kind of take over the game and make a statement, kind of like I'm thinking Saquon and the Eagles were like, okay, well, now Saquon's back, right? I mean, look at the season he's having.
Yeah.
But look at some of the games he had where he just went off. I wanted to give Josh Jacobs that opportunity. He had over 100 and something yards, 2-3 touchdowns, right?
Mm-hmm.
Instead, we had over 188 yards rushing, but he only had 69 of them and 1 touchdown, right? Mm-hmm. Like if you would have given him 130 of those rushing yards and 2 of those touchdowns, that would have been a big number going into the playoff, right? But again, that would have maybe won my fantasy teams. Maybe that's why I care about him more than anything. But I don't know. I just know, look, we need Josh Jacobs to be at his absolute A game in the playoffs if we're going to do anything. He's our best player. I really think he's our best player. So, again, you don't want him to get hurt. I get that. I get the thoughts. But you also want him to be that guy going into the playoffs. And kind of dishing the ball out doesn't as much make the statement that I was hoping for.
Mm-hmm.
Does that make sense?
Yeah, that makes sense. I mean, me personally, even though I didn't have Josh Jacobs in fantasy, I would just like to say that I think it was good that we did not forcibly feed him in the second half as much that you need to when you're up by that much. I'd rather keep him healthy and safe and be ready for Minnesota and then Chicago. Like, keep it going like how they're doing like the past couple of weeks of like the rhythm to start out Josh Jacobs, because I think LaFleur does a good job in the first half with starting him. But when you get to the second half, this is it's the annoying thing, and it's not going to go off of like last week's game, but like you saw in the Seattle game, where like they go away from the run game, and like they need to maintain all 4 quarters of run the ball, and that's how you're going to win this ball game here for the Packers in these playoff games if you really want a shot. And like you mentioned, like Josh Jacobs is the best player on that Packers team, and it's going to have to run through him. So I want him to be ready and healthy for this Vikings game to be healthy, because it's not going to mean that much. But if you can beat the Vikings, this is like a kind of a playoff preview matchup here. You try to go back in, you try to play and see if you can compete with arguably top 3 NFC teams in the NFC, which I don't agree with all of that, but you got to put it into motion there. Then you got Chicago, just beat the Bears as usual, and then get prepared. Like, I think for the Bears game, Mike, I would play Jacobs a bit more just to get his – I mean, he's already focused and he's already got that mindset, but just to get him more ready, because if we get the 7th seed, it's going fast and quick, and we're going to have to play Philly against Hurts and Saquon Barkley, which I don't want to do in the first round, because that's just like you already have 11 wins on the season, and we have to go play Eagles first round. Great way for us to start the playoffs. I don't want to face the Eagles the first round. This is why the only reason why there's a little playoff implication, which is really just a seeding wise, which I don't think we could get the 5th seed. But again, you just have to hope the Lions play all their guys the last week, which I don't think they will. So really, all I care at this point is just to stay the 6th seed. And so you beat Minnesota. That sets you apart, and you want the Falcons to beat the Commanders, because that's the tie. Because the Commanders hold a tiebreaker over the Packers, I believe, because of not strength of victory, because of conference record in the NFC. That is why.
Sorry, why do you think the Lions are going to sit their starters week 17 or 18?
because they can clinch the number 1 seed this week if we beat the Vikings and the Lions beat the 49ers.
No, I agree. But a lot needs to happen. If the Packers lose, then their game actually means nothing. It all comes down to Week 18. So yeah, I mean, you're assuming that the Packers win. Yeah. But I guess here's a question for you: who would you rather? Just forget about the Packers winning and Packers losing. Who would you rather get the 1 seed, the Vikings or the Lions?
I'd rather give it to the Vikings. I would give it to them because I want to see the Lions playing the wild card, and they're banged up so much. I could definitely see like maybe an upset, but I could see them go out early in the playoff run. Whereas Minnesota, like they're a good football team, but I don't think they're that good that everyone keeps saying they are. I think Minnesota could like screw themselves up if they get the number 1 seed and they play the first round and get upset. So I'd rather have the Vikings get the 1 seed though, even though they control their own destiny. I'd rather see the Vikings get the 1 seed than the Lions.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know. I think it goes either way, right? Because I think the Lions have a lot of injuries, right?
Yeah.
And I think if they have to play all 3 games, it's going to be tough for them. So I think in that aspect, it's probably good to get the Lions not be the number 1 seed.
Mm-hmm.
And I think the Vikings are probably the worst team on paper between the two.
Yeah.
So it would be better for them to get the 1 seed because they're not as good, I don't think, as the Lions. But the Lions also hurt. So does that make them less good than the Vikings? I'm not really sure. Of course, neither of them being the 1 seed is ideal, but one has to be at this point. So I don't know. I feel like almost the Vikings being the 1 seed is the better option, and that would then mean kind of like the Packers should lose this week. But then, of course, we don't want to be the 6th or we want to be the 7th seed.
Yeah.
No, I mean you gotta win, but I think the necessary evil of winning is you kind of give the Lions the 1 seed, as you said, like they're more than likely going to beat the 49ers, and if that's the case, then at the 1 seed the Packers win. So yeah, I mean we got to win for ourselves. We got to look out for ourselves first, and then the playoffs will come later. But I think it's interesting to say like if the Packers lose, they could in theory be better off if the Commanders also lose.
Yeah, as long as
the Commanders play 1 o'clock.
No, they play Sunday night. They got against Atlanta. I think it's in Atlanta too, Mike. So that was the one game they wanted to put Sunday Night Football. I would have thought they put the Packers-Vikings game Sunday night for us.
Yeah, I mean technically, I think the other game means more.
Yeah.
So because neither team is clinched yet.
Mm-hmm. So. Which could all happen this week for them.
Yeah, so that's why it's an important game, that game. So, we should definitely keep an eye on that game. But, in theory, the best case scenario, Packers in theory could lose. Lions, then I guess game wouldn't matter. And then the Commanders lose. And then I think that's in theory the best case scenario.
Mm-hmm.
Well, but then you don't get the 5th seed. I mean, what would need to happen to us in order to get to the 5th seed? We have to beat the Vikings.
We have to win out and Vikings lose out.
Yeah.
That's the only way for us to get the 5 seed.
So it's reasonable.
That's why I'm saying, like, I hope if we beat the Vikings somehow, let's just say that, knock on wood, I hope the Lions play their players, which, knowing Dan Campbell, he probably will do it. But the question is how much are they going to play the Lions players, like all 4 quarters or up till halftime or not at all? That's going to be the question. It happens.
What does getting the 5th seed typically do for us?
If we get the 5th seed, we would play most likely the Falcons or the Bucs. If we stay with the 6th seed, we would most likely face the NFC West, which is most likely going to be the Rams at this point. It does depend because there's the Seahawks still trying to go for it. And right now, their game is tied against the Chicago Bears right now, almost halftime 3-3, and they are bound in field goal range. So They are about to take the lead 6-3, but that is all implications too. So, like, who would you want to face, Mike? Like, let's say from the NFC West, who would you want to face, the Seahawks or the Rams?
Probably Seahawks. I mean, they don't look very good right now.
Mm-hmm. And then if you're going NFC South, Falcons or Bucks?
Falcons, by far.
Mm-hmm.
They don't really have a quarterback. Although I guess what's his name?
Michael Penix.
Michael Penix is looked pretty good in his debut, right?
Mm-hmm. It looks solid.
So I guess they're gonna go with Penix into the playoffs.
Yeah, they're starting him the rest of the season. They're gonna cut Kirk Cousins very soon.
So what's the point of playing Kirk Cousins at all?
Yeah. So because they're gonna the Falcons are gonna do what happened with Russell Wilson at Broncos last year. They're gonna cut him so they save a lot of money.
Yeah. So I don't know. Let's try to get the 5th seed. If we can't, we gotta get the 6th seed. I agree. 7th seed is not a good scenario.
Mm-hmm.
That would make you have to go through the Eagles, whoever the Vikings or the Lions.
Mm-hmm. And then you get NFC Championship game then, if we make it that far.
Yeah, 7th seed would be tough.
Mm-hmm.
Although, if you get the 6th seed, you're going to have to play the 1st seed anyway.
Yeah, most likely. But you'd rather not face Philly the first round and make it tougher on you.
Yeah. Right. The only way we wouldn't play the 1st seed in general, if we don't get the 5th seed, is if somebody beats Philly.
Mm-hmm. Which
the Commanders, I guess, would be the team that have to beat them.
I don't think the Commanders could beat Philly in the playoffs, just because I think Hurts is going to be fine. He's going to play. You got Barkley. I don't trust rookie quarterbacks in the postseason, so it's Jane Daniels. I don't think they could give him a run for their money, but I don't think he'll do that all well in like the playoffs against Philly. I feel like
should go to the game.
Yeah,
NFC North game.
Mm-hmm.
That'd be a fun game to go to.
Yeah.
So if the Packers. So that means that they're not going to play the Lions. Assuming the Lions get the 1 seed, not going to play in the championship game. So the most likely opponent in the championship game is the Eagles.
Yeah.
At the moment.
Yeah. At the moment, I mean, the only bright side, if we're the 7th seed and we take Philly out, then it just got a lot easier for the whole playing field and makes it more wide open. Then you just got to beat the NFC North pretty much, and then you're in the Super Bowl.
You're saying if somebody beats?
Yeah, I'm saying if we beat Philly, then I think it's easier for us to get to the Super Bowl, since we play the Vikings and Lions so much, and I definitely think we could beat both those teams. I'm just saying if we beat Philly, it gives this team a lot more confidence in them, because Philly is like the 2nd or 3rd best overall favorites to like win the Super Bowl or make the Super Bowl, and they're like the second best odds to win the NFC. So
yeah, what's interesting is if we don't get the 7th seed, I mean, I wouldn't say that NFC Championship game in Lambeau is completely off the table. I mean, the Commanders are a good team.
Yeah.
And I think they're better than any of the divisional winners other than NFC North and NFC East, right? So if the Commanders beat the Eagles, there goes the Eagles, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And the Packers would have to get through – well, sorry, I guess they'd have to then get through the Lions then.
You have to get through the Lions, and if we get the 5th seed, for example, Mike, you have to also wonder the 3rd seed then, which is going to be the Rams. So you would want, like, let's say the Vikings get the 6th seed, you would want the Vikings to beat the Rams just for your home. You get a home playoff game, at least, where it's going to be the 6 and 5. Packers beat them. Then the Commanders beat the Lions, for example. You get 2 home playoff games at max.
Yeah, this is a bad year for the NFL in their playoff seeding because it's crazy. The Packers are easily the third best team I guess third or fourth best team in the conference, and they're going to maybe be the worst seed or the second to worst seed compared to, you said, the third of the Rams. Like, that's crazy.
Yeah.
The South and the West are so much worse than all the wild card teams.
Yeah. Like, there's going to be so many upsets I could see in the first round this year of playoffs, especially in the NFC. I could see almost an entire upset from the 7, 6, and 5. I can almost see it.
I mean, look, this is the best Packers team we've seen in a long time. They're a complete team.
Yeah,
we have a chance. I really think we have a chance, and it's kind of unfortunate where our seeding is because of that, but we do have a chance.
We do. But Mike, does it give you some like reminiscence or vibes of like the 2010 Super Bowl team, of like where they were at when they were just trying to get to the playoffs and everything?
We kind of backed in that season. This season we've been in charge, other than when we played the good teams in our division and the Eagles. Other than that, we've looked really good. This was a very complete season, I think, for the Packers. This is a good season. I think the Packers are, in theory, the best team in the NFC at the moment. I think the Lions are reeling a little bit from injuries. Still think they're a good team, don't get me wrong. But they've had a lot of injuries. The Vikings, I think, are a tad bit overrated, although they're really well coached. And, some of the players have overperformed this year. I think the Eagles are good, but I don't think I think the Packers could beat them. The Packers are really good. I think they're going to have their work cut out for them, having to go on the road most likely the whole time, and that's why I don't know if it's going to get done. But obviously, like you said, they did do it in 2010. I think it's more of an anomaly than a recipe for success, but it's not impossible. So it's going to be challenging, but not impossible.
Yeah.
I think it's a good team. I'm excited. I'm excited to see where it goes. I think that they'll definitely get to the second round if they're not playing the Eagles, in my opinion.
Yeah.
Then you're right. Then you're going to have to play the Lions or the Vikings. I think you could win either of those games. It could come down to Philly, Green Bay, and the championship game, which we'd have to think about going and maybe getting some beer thrown in our face. But,
it'll be interesting. I mean, I feel like this team. I think this season too, Mike. This team has been prepared for us going on the road. We are very good. We've been better on the road, I will say, than like the past couple of seasons. We've been more complete, more complementary football I've seen from all sides of the field with special teams, defense, and offense. We do fine in like loud, noisy stadiums. The Lions Stadium, we've been battling through that. Even though we lost both games, even though we lost this year, we can battle through that. Minnesota, that'll be a test this Sunday. Philly, I think we can definitely handle the atmosphere, the intensity in that. We just played in the Seahawks, and the Packers fans took over that stadium too. So I definitely think we can travel well on the road in the playoffs.
Yeah, I agree. But Packers always travel well.
They always do. To get your quick thoughts, Mike, from the Saints game, did you see the post-game interview with Jordan Love?
I'd be honest.
Yeah.
I fell asleep like 5 minutes before the game.
Well,
I did see what you're talking about. With Sean Gary scared. Yeah, I woke up for that part. He like screamed to like go Packers, like it scared the
ESPN reporter.
Yeah. I don't know why I fell asleep. I guess I was tired. But honestly, the game was a snooze fest anyway. So I'm not surprised I fell asleep.
If it makes you feel any better, Mike, my brother left like 10 minutes before the game was over. He was like, "This game's over. My fantasy football season's over. Thanks to Christian Watson."
That sounds like is that your brother I met at the game?
Yeah.
Tell him it sounds like me. Like my fantasy team, I was like, "This is over. This is over," and I guess I just fell asleep. I really didn't feel like a Packers fan watching that. I was rooting against us on defense. I'm like, come on, do something. Like, just don't hurt him, obviously, but like, score. Let's go. Come on. Nothing. They didn't do anything. I'm like, why can't they be this bad when I want? Like, why can't the Packers defense be this good when I want them to be this good? And then when I want them to suck, they're great. Oh man. They couldn't have given up like 32 points, so we would have won 34-32.
Yeah,
I don't know.
I feel like we could make a clip out of that, Mike, for the PackReacts, and we could just put like, here's how you feel when you win your fantasy championship. Rashawn Gary has his input on your on his team. So something like that. Make a meme out of that. I feel like that would become Rashawn Gary.
You could clip it. We'll add it to the podcast.
Yeah. So we will definitely do that, folks. Let's move into this upcoming game against Minnesota, Mike, because there are a lot of injuries with the Packers. Quay Walker's most likely not going to play. Jair Alexander, he's not going to play most likely. I don't think he'll even play, Mike, till maybe the playoffs, if we even get a shot at that, because it's looking more like the Dave Bakhtiari situation, I feel like, from last year of like, will the guy get healthy? He's being practiced, and it's just not happening there. That's one of my big concerns. Javon Bullard might play this week, so that'll be good. Evan Williams is definitely going to be out. Elton Jenkins dealing with a knee injury. He did not participate in practice today, which is a little bit concerning, which I still think he'll play, though. I think he'll play through it. But yeah, the injuries, I mean, we're healthy compared to the other NFL teams in this league, but it's definitely annoying when you can't get some guys great. Like Christian Watson gets hurt twice last week's game, and it was like the same exact kind of injury he had against the Chiefs last year, of how he went down and everything. I was just like, it's just annoying to see that, though, Mike.
Yeah. Yeah, Watson got hurt. There's just a bone bruise, so he'll be okay. He has a chance to play this week.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think our injuries are not that bad. Oh, Luke Musgrave came back.
Yep.
That's good. Speaking of which, we put that on X. We put that X on Twitter, YouTube. It'll probably get flagged on YouTube.
Yeah, you can hear it.
There you go.
There we go, folks. There we go.
Welcome back, Luke Musgrave. I saw that in the list of videos right when I was saying that. So, but yeah. So, I think the Packers team are actually getting healthy right now. I mean, we don't really have anybody on IR.
The only one I know is Marshawn Lloyd. That's the only one I can think
of. He's going to be coming back soon, no?
I haven't really heard.
He's not on IR. He's on like non-football injury list.
I don't know. I really haven't heard that much of Marshawn Lloyd, if he's going to come back this year or not. I haven't heard anything about that. The only one I know that's
appendicitis or something, right? Because he was going to come back.
Yeah, that's my one issue. My one question with this team is if he's going to play or not, and if anything, what would his role be with the running back room? Because you got Brooks and Wilson, and they've been fine. So that's my question. Jordan Morgan's obviously our first round picks out this year, which I'm not surprised. I mean,
he's done for the whole season.
Yeah, Jordan Morgan's out for the year. Which our offensive line is still fine. Jordan Morgan has a play, which I didn't expect him to get much play. I mean, the only thing we were arguing him playing, Mike, was like if he's going to play right guard, and that's Sean Ryan's spot. And I said he would have a good season so far, and so far he has.
Yeah, you're right. He's up this season. Oh, well.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, look, I think it's going to be a good game. I'm excited. But I think, here's what I'll say. I think the game matters less for seeding. I mean, seeding is important, but I think we need to win against a team that is going to be a playoff-bound NFC team. And I think this is a big game if you go into Minnesota and win handedly, right? If you go win handedly, I think this is huge for this team's confidence. So I think this is an important game, although it's not going to stop us from getting to the playoffs or be a huge game when it comes to seeding or anything like that. Well, I mean, I guess it could be an important game when it comes to wild card seeding at this point.
Yeah.
But, we're not going to get the division or anything that's like crazy big for playoffs.
Yeah.
What do you call it? It could be huge for this team's confidence because, again, our losses right now are against teams we're going to need to beat in order to get to the Super Bowl. Eagles, Lions, Vikings. So if you could get a win and a big decisive win against the Vikings going to the playoffs, this shows the world, the league, that the Packers are not just a team that can beat teams they should beat. They're also going to beat the teams that they need to beat in order to get to the Super Bowl.
Mm-hmm.
So this is going to be a big game that changes the narrative for this team.
Oh, definitely. So, Mike, what are your keys to this game here for the Packers?
I think it's similar to what the recipe of success has been. The past few weeks. Run the ball. Protect the ball. Jordan Love, no interception again this week. So run the ball, protect the ball, and play sound defense. Get pressure on the quarterback. Get a turnover or two.
Mm-hmm.
Few sacks. I think that's the main thing.
Yeah. I mean, it definitely like the last time we played Minnesota up in Lambeau. We gave Sam Darnold all time, all day. We started out bad. We were down 17 by half, and we lost by 3 points, and we had some missed kicks, but now we have a new kicker, so that would definitely help us out there. Defensively, we couldn't get pressure on him. We couldn't get sacks on Sam Darnold. That was a big issue. Jordan Love threw interceptions, which it's Toyotathon, Mike, for Jordan Love. If you not see his new commercial already, if you haven't already. But yeah, so I think Jordan, protect the ball, like you mentioned. I agree with you. Run the ball. That's a big thing. Pressure and I would say pressure and turnovers, especially for the defense, make Sam Darnold uncomfortable is what I would say. It could be like last year with that pass defense when you had Carrington, you had the Valentine and Ballantyne on Justin Jefferson, and they smoked Justin Jefferson in last year's game. But obviously, the Vikings did not have a great quarterback, so it will be interesting once again not having Jair on Justin Jefferson this week. So that will be a big thing is how good our pass defense will be. I mean, our defense has been very good. It's top 10 scoring, so is our offense. But they've been a lot better in the run defense. I can appreciate that with Jeff Hafley. Pass defense, they have been solid without Jair. And I thought that was really going to hurt us when Jair's been out this past couple weeks, that our pass defense was really going to go down, even though it's somehow still working itself out. I think those are the keys to the game for me.
Yeah, I mean, you got to stop Justin Jefferson. Can't let him go off. I believe he went off the last game against us, and that was not good. But we also can't let him out to a huge lead like last game.
Mm-hmm. And then you got to watch out for Aaron Jones as well.
Yeah, right. Is he? He's going. He's not hurt.
He's going. He's not hurt. He invented his own Lambeau leap at the Minnesota Stadium, Mike. It's where they have the rails. I forget what he called it, but he called it similar to the Lambeau leap of it's the rail leap or something like that. And he does that every touchdown he scores now. So he's trying to copy the Lambeau leap into the Minnesota leap at this point. So cannot have that.
He's jealous.
He is jealous.
Stay away.
Exactly. That's all the ex-Packers. They go to Minnesota and they try to copy us and get into it with us. But in the end, Packers always find a way to beat them.
Well, should we do our predictions then?
Yes, might as well.
I go first?
Yep.
Say Packers 24. I'll say Vikings 23. I was going to give the Vikings a win. I really was. But I don't think I can do that. Packers win.
I think the Packers finally get a win against Minnesota to keep the streak alive of a split series the last 4 seasons it's been with the Packers and the Vikings rivalry series this past couple of years. But I will go Packers 28, Vikings 24. I think Love has a good day, and he does very well in protecting the ball, I will say.
I was going to say the same thing, just the Vikings are going to have 28. Yeah, no, look, I don't think this is necessarily a shoe-in win at all. I think this is going to be a tough game. Mm-hmm. I think probably the Vikings are a better team at the moment. They're also home. Mm-hmm. Like I said, I think the Packers are on the up and up. I think this is an opportunity for a statement win. I think we need this win, and I think they probably will get the win. Just a matter of, do you control Justin Jefferson? Do you not let them out to a big lead? Whatnot.
Well, if it makes it interesting for you, Mike, the Packers are favored in this game.
1 point, I know. Weird. Yeah. So what's 1 point between front? Really, that means we're up 3 points because usually 2 points for home field advantage. So it really means we're up by a touchdown right now. I mean, sorry, field goal. Yeah. Weird. It's weird for us to be up 1. I mean,
it's a game.
I think the Vikings. The Vikings right now only have 2 losses. They lost to the Lions once, and they lost to
the Rams.
The Rams, right? The Lions lost to the Bills, and they lost to. Do you know who they lost to other than that?
Rams, Lions. That's the only teams I have on Minnesota.
No, not the Vikings. The Lions.
Lions. They lost to the Bucks.
So both the Lions and the Vikings lost to.
And the Bills, yeah, Lions.
Sorry, who did the Vikings lose to?
Vikings lost to the Rams.
Rams and Lions, right?
Yeah.
So they both lost to one of those probably divisional winners, but not as good as the other divisional winners. And then, Lions beat the Vikings. Vikings lost to an AFC team.
Mm-hmm.
The Lions lost to an AFC. Go.
Yeah. But that is our coverage here, folks. We're going to keep it short here since it's the holidays, and we're going to enjoy while Mike finishes up the Aaron Rodgers documentary here, folks.
Yeah, that's right. I got to watch some of that. So we'll keep it short. There's a game going on right now. What's the score in that game?
6-3 Seattle.
Oh, they scored.
Halftime.
There were 2 holiday games yesterday. Did you watch the games yesterday, Jeremy, on Netflix?
I watched the games on Netflix yesterday. They were mostly I watched it for fantasy perspective, but it was both boring games. Like it was the same exact script when I first watched the Chiefs game in Pittsburgh and the Baltimore, and I was like, the Chiefs game that was over like midway through the third quarter, and I was like, they shouldn't even play the fourth quarter at that point because Tomlin purposely wasn't trying in the fourth quarter at all. Like, he wasn't going for a touchdown, even though they were very close to. He just wanted to run the ball the whole time, punt. It was the same situation for Houston. They did the exact same thing. There were a couple questionable calls there for Houston. They went for it, on their goal, on the Baltimore's goal. They messed that up. They should have took the field goal, and then they had another opportunity to get another 3 points right before half. They messed that up. So brutal. It was blowout games for both sides of Chiefs and Ravens. It was not really game wise.
Yeah, I agree. Although I did like Andy Reid in the Santa Claus costume.
That was funny. I will give him that.
Ho ho ho.
Yeah.
All right. On that note, short episode this time, but last episode. Thanks again for Jeff for coming on. That was a really good episode. Hopefully we get some more guests moving forward. Hopefully John comes on soon. We'll probably try to get John and Jeff on one day. We'll see. It should be fun.
Mike, since it is the holidays here, what is your wish for the Packers?
Super Bowl.
There we go. Super Bowl is all. That's all you need from Packers fans, folks. Is the Super Bowl.
Yeah, it's our wish every year.
Mm-hmm. We're not in.
What about you, Jeremy?
Well, I would just like to say I us healthy is the most important thing with Super Bowl. Definitely agree with you. Health and confidence. I think this team really does well when we have confidence in ourselves. And you see it how they did it last year against Dallas in the playoffs. House money. I think it's going to be like a house money mindset almost. Even though there are certain expectations for this Packers team heading into the playoffs this year, I think it's going to be house money in their heads is what they're thinking. Even if they're favorite, I think they're going to be full of confidence in that team.
Yep, I agree.
Yeah. That'll do it here, folks. We will be here next week, and it will be New Year because 2024 will be over, and we'll be in 2025. So we'll see you next year, folks.
Yeah, happy. Well, you have any New Year's traditions, Jeremy?
Usually I just watch the college playoff games. That's about it.
Okay.
Not much else. That's the only thing I ever look at.
Well, you have to have some champagne this year, Jeremy.
I did. I think I had it last year. I was not a fan of the champagne. It didn't sit with me.
Don't drink too much of it, isn't it?
Yeah.
All right. Well, thanks everyone for joining. Another good episode, and go Pack Go.
Go Pack Go, folks.